So a little while ago, I made this video called 9 Books I Revisit Every Year. And I got this comment to make a part 2, which excited me because it was hard to fit it down to 9. And there are tons of titles that I would add now that I'm getting a chance to expand that list. And so I'm going to be diving into the titles that I think are worth revisiting every year in addition to that first 9. And of course, you can check out all of the links to the books that I mentioned in the description below. Okay, so the first book is called The Great Depression, A Diary by Benjamin Roth. Now, this book was recommended on a couple podcasts by Morgan Housel. He referred to it as one of the best economic books of all time. And really the unique thing about it is that it's written from a young lawyer's perspective around 1929, where he's reporting to you what he is witnessing all around him. And it just went on to remind me how, Benjamin Roth is not some crazy famous lawyer that meant anything to me. He's just a normal guy in my eyes, but it's cool to see like his thoughts, his ideas are worth revisiting, purely because it's just a totally different time period, right? To get to have like a first-hand account of what life was like almost 100 years ago now, it's very fascinating. And I think it's very humbling to revisit this because it shows you how much progress has happened in 100 years, and also, how many things have also stayed relatively the same. Okay, number 2 is The Art of Spending Money by Morgan Housel. So it's no secret that Morgan Housel is one of my favorite writers. So of course I'm a bit biased. Same as Ever was on the last list that I did. But I recommend this one even more than The Psychology of Money because I feel like everybody spends money, everybody has to. And there are ways where this makes you feel this sense of control as soon as you're reading it. Like, wow, I feel like I'm getting more out of what I currently have, instead of this gap that you feel sometimes. When I read something like, I need more to feel whole. I need to get this or do that. This book is not that. It really makes you feel like, wow, I have everything I need. Enough that you could really, I think, change your day-to-day quality of life by revisiting this every so often. Okay, the third book is going to be Peak, Secrets from the New Science of Expertise. Now, this is a book I originally got on audiobook when it first came out in like 2016, 2017. And it was one of the first books in quite a while that had come out that didn't feel so outdated around expertise and practice and this whole 10,000 hour rule that we had heard of, right? And so there are 2 concepts in this book that will blow your mind. And it is basically deliberate practice and mental representations. And every time I listen to this book, because I kind of keep it on as like an anthem in the background, if you're interested in human performance and training and skill development, this really will put you in a nice zone. And so much so that I had, too many highlights from the audio version, where obviously it's a little messy to take highlights from the audiobook. So I got the hard copy version that I can really mark up. And I find you can flip to any page and get something out of it that excites you in whatever skill that you are practicing and developing. So highly recommend this one. You might even find yourself coming back to this multiple times a year. Now, the 4th book is Mastery by Robert Greene. This is one of my all-time favorites that actually serves as an anthem, very similar to Peak. So I have this on audiobook as well. I have the Kindle version. I have it in every format you can think of. And the audiobook version, I will put on like a song sometimes. And it basically just allows me to feel, it gives you that vibe of like, you are in pursuit of mastery. You are working on something. You are focused. And so it can feel really good in that sense. Of course, when I first read this, like 15 years ago or whatever it was, I did not get past the first chapter or 2 because that was the stage where I was at, right? I was picking my craft. I was getting a mentor. I was really in that apprenticeship phase. And then it's cool because over time I've gotten to, read more and more of it. And you get totally different things out of it because I was so obsessed with just the first couple chapters, because that's what was highly relevant to me at that time. And then as you progress, the other stuff will really stand out to you. And of course, it does not hurt to absorb the rest of it, even if you are in the first couple chapters and in those early stages, because you can see this mental representation of, the skill that you're pursuing and what it can look like. There's so many beautiful stories from so many different crafts and trades that I think this is just, worth having in your library, again, in multiple formats, if it makes sense for you. Now, the fifth book. This one I'm excited for because people commented that I didn't have any fiction on my list. And it's not because I have anything against fiction. It's just I have so much nonfiction I want to read that oftentimes that's just what, where my focus is. And I don't find myself to be a huge expert on, fiction books, but I do have this desire to be more of a fiction reader. And this book, Wool by Hugh Howey, has actually, reinforced that belief for me, because it is one of those powerful apocalyptic life after an apocalypse type books. And if you have seen the Apple TV show called Silo, that whole series is based off of this book. And so it's super cool because, of course, Apple releases this stuff like, one season a year, whatever it is, and we're still on the first book, I think, in the TV show. So I'm excited because I'm going to read the rest of the series, and I want to know what happens. So I'm excited about it, but what I really love is that this book, if you watch it also with the show, it's a great exercise reading fiction to help you produce images in your mind, right? Because that is a skill that we used to be as humans really great at that has deteriorated over time because we rely so much on words. But being able to kind of attach a scene and a visual to some of this, to the characters, and spot the differences, it's kind of like how you feel sometimes reading the Harry Potter book versus watching the movie. There's so much in the book that, just gets missed because they got to fit it into a tight little, movie script. So this is a masterpiece, one that I'm very inspired by, and I find myself, making an intent to come back to this at least once a year. Now, the sixth book for me is going to be The Mamba Mentality by Kobe Bryant. Now, this is one of those books that at first glance, it looks like a textbook, right? It feels huge. It's not your normal size, but it's also one of those things that's meant to be kind of a coffee table book. But when you open it, you immediately understand why it is the way it is, because there are some beautiful, beautiful pictures throughout his career that are actually in this. And there are such, one thing that as you look into Kobe, you'll probably know is that he wanted to be a storyteller. He wanted to basically write children's books and do a bunch of cool stuff once he had retired. And this was a passion of his that people were just really surprised by. They didn't know that he was into this thing. Because he never really showed that side of himself, but he was actually very good at this craft and put a lot of dedication and attention into it. And so you get a sense of that when you flip open to any page. There's Kobe himself telling you certain practices, certain drills, certain routines, certain ways that he thinks about the game, ways that he thinks about training and progress, that is just so invaluable. If you, again, are interested in human performance, I think you will get so much out of it, even if you don't really watch basketball. I don't consider myself to be a big, sports viewer, but at the same time, Kobe Bryant to me is an expert in his trade that is undeniable, right? And Michael Jordan, right? It's like, I've read Michael Jordan's biography, but he's almost like mythic, right? He almost feels like I don't know, but there's something about Kobe that is very like pure grit and talent, and of course there's that Michael Jordan mythicness to him too. But I think just when you hear about the work ethic that Kobe Bryant put in and day out, and his love for the game, it inspires you in whatever you are pursuing yourself. So highly recommend this one. Took me too long to get it, but now that I have it, it's become a staple. Next up is Outlive by Dr. Peter Attia. This is a book about longevity and health. And Dr. Peter Attia is one of those world-renowned cancer surgeons and doctors that just has decades of experience. And it is a true gift to humanity when doctors like himself take the time to put it together in a book like this, because it can then be accessed by thousands and millions of people who are not his patients, right? There's only a select amount of people that I'm sure Dr. Attia can see, but the amount of knowledge in this is invaluable. And I find that if you are trying to improve your health in any aspect, this can be like, it feels like a, like it's not meant to be a motivational book, but it will do that for you, right? You'll read about the things you're trying to improve, you'll understand them better, and it will be easier for you to implement some of those changes once some of those concepts really click. And of course, the depth and breadth of what's in this will be something that you reference throughout your life as you are facing, maybe different aspects of your health that you're trying to optimize or learn more about. This feels like a worthy guide to have on your shelf for when you are interested in stepping into that version of yourself. Number 8 is Invent and Wander by Jeff Bezos. One of the main reasons I love this is because it gives you insight into how Jeff Bezos sees himself, and it's not just the way that, these titles that the world puts on him. He sees himself as this curious guy who loves to make things and invent things. And this is all stuff that's out there, right? Shareholder letters, interviews he's done, and things like that are pieced together and woven into this book full of wisdom. Something to keep in mind is that Walter Isaacson doesn't just choose anybody for his biographies, right? And so the fact that he did something with Jeff Bezos says a lot. And also, it's refreshing compared to when you read, honestly, like Elon Musk's biography or, Steve Jobs' biography. Like, there's a lot of great stuff in there too, but there are certain things that feel really practical and grounded and more maybe relatable is the word, with some of the stuff that you'll find inside this book. You really, it inspires you to be a builder, a maker, and to chase your curiosity. It's a great reminder to do that. Now, my 9th book is going to be Nexus by Yuval Noah Harari. He is the author of Sapiens, which you may have heard of. Beautiful book, amazing storytelling. You get access to that same style in this book, but I have been recently more intrigued and interested by the history of knowledge, how we come to know what we know. And this book makes it very accessible. It takes you all the way back to the Stone Age to right now, to AI age. And I'll read you the back and it will kind of give you an interesting glimpse into what this is. So, stories brought us together. Books spread our ideas and our mythologies. The internet promised infinite knowledge. The algorithm learned our secrets and then turned us against one another. What will AI do? Nexus is the thrilling account of how we arrived at this moment and the urgent choices we must now make to survive and to thrive. So again, this is one of those books that you will fly through. It is great, of course. You feel current reading about it in a sense because of AI and, feeling like you're not behind on it by learning about it. But also what I think is even cooler is it's taking you back, right? This is taking you back to the Stone Age and showing you the building blocks and the development of how information traveled up until now, which to me, this was just, I could nerd out on this forever. So if you find yourself interested in that, Nexus is definitely one that I recommend to have on your shelf. It's a humbling and refreshing reminder of, what we know and appreciating that, right? Appreciating the knowledge that we have access to. I think that this in combination with Wool by Hugh Howey reminds you to appreciate like all of what humanity has come to know and how that has helped us build onto learning more complex things, right? So anyways, this is a staple. So I hope you found some of these titles compelling. You can get the full book in the description below to everything I referenced in this video. And I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment. What are some books that you like to revisit every year? I appreciate you hanging out and taking the time, and I will see you on the next one.